All right, time for the behind-the-scenes weather model discussion here for Tuesday, November the 8th. How's it going, everyone? William Cole here in the Storm Studio on this Election Day Tuesday as well. Hopefully you maybe had the chance to even get out and vote as we went through the day. This is our bonus content we do each and every day that we typically put on our social media. Again, we just call it the weather model discussion. This is where we take you behind the scenes and show you the raw data that we've been looking at as we've been putting together the forecast of the day. This is made possible by our Patreon subscribers, again for just $2.99 per month. Patreon.com/weathertrackertv. If you are a Patreon subscriber, again, not only does it help with this video, but also our mobile app, live channel, things like that as well. If you're not a subscriber, think about doing it today. Again, like I mentioned, just $2.99 per month. And of course, we appreciate all of our Patreon subscribers out there. So we've got a lot to talk about today. Again, really the big story, it's going to be heading into the weekend. In fact, specifically this upcoming Friday, we got a unusually strong fall cold front. It's inbound. It's going to knock the bottom out of our temperatures for what appears to be maybe 7, maybe 10, maybe 14 days. Once we cool down, there's no sign of things flipping back the other direction. So if you like warm temperatures, you've got what's left of today, you've got tomorrow, Wednesday, and then you've got Thursday as well, because after that, like I mentioned, we are turning cooler. We're talking about temperatures well below normal. Some folks out there will begin to even see their first overnight freezing temperatures as well. So again, a lot to talk about. But let's go and just start with the live cam here. And again, this is just of downtown Dallas. You can see all the low gray stratus cloud cover from early in the morning. We burnt that off. In fact, we've got a couple cumulus clouds out there, fair weather cumulus clouds you can see. And again, obviously the morning fog has also lifted. But what you saw out there this morning, or even what you saw out there yesterday morning, we're going to do all over again Wednesday morning and Thursday morning. We've just got this moisture pooled in the area, and it's not going anywhere until that front arrives. Again, as we get into, first part of Friday morning. Let's go look at temperatures here quickly, then we'll really dive into the good stuff, to the raw data. But again, temperatures around the area, again, not looking too bad. Again, keep in mind a typical high now for this time of year, what we call an average for DFW would be 69. So, I mean, we're running nearly 10 degrees above normal. Currently 78 at DFW. Again, you see some 80s down along the coast. Quick check even here just in North Texas. And again, 78 DFW, 77 Love Field. Looks like bottom kind of the less hot or less mild spot, if you will, at 71. And well, even Paris, Texas up there, 68. Meanwhile, we've got a few 80s down to the south. Palestine, 81. Even our friends there in Navarro County and Corsicana, right now 83. So again, it is, yes, a warm afternoon out there, humid afternoon. And of course, all the humidity continues to pool in from the Gulf of Mexico. You can see the wind bars there. Wind vectors coming in from the southeast, pumping up or transporting that maritime Gulf of Mexico moisture up into the area. And like I mentioned, it's just simply put going to be pooling here, until we get into this upcoming Friday. Okay, let's go and switch it up now. Now we're going to start looking at the raw data. And again, we're going to kind of give you this behind the scenes look here of what all we have going on. So number one, we're going to look at the visible satellite review. And this truly is telling the story, right? We've got a couple things going on. Number one, you can see some of that low gray stratus cloud cover still showing up, right? Almost directly down 35. We broke it up here in the Metroplex, but if you go southbound, you can still see some of it. At the mid levels and at the low levels, you see that moving to the north, right? So the lower level winds, again, coming up out of the Gulf of Mexico. You can also very evidently see it. Take a look at parts of southern Arkansas and parts of far southeastern Oklahoma. That is still very thick, low gray stratus cloud cover over there. In fact, it's a generally cloudy day over there, okay? But then take a look. So we're talking about the lower levels, the mid levels of the atmosphere, but then look how these other clouds are moving from southwest to northeast. That's at the mid to mid upper levels of the atmosphere. That's where we have the jet stream energizing, and we have this jet stream carving around the big storm system out to the west. All of that essentially is a sign of things to come as we get into late Thursday into Friday as that storm system begins to arrive in the area. Again, we'll talk more about that storm system in detail coming up momentarily. Just a quick peek at the radar review here. And we'll just take a quick peek here too. Let's take a look at the mosaic. and we're generally quiet. You can see a few showers down along the coast, right? You can see a few up across parts of far eastern Kansas. Otherwise, all the little blops you're seeing there, that is all just ground clutter from each of the individual NexRad sites. Again, this is obviously not something we use on the air, but again, here in the Storm Studio, something we use just to keep our eye on the region as well. So again, what we're going to be showing you is not going to be the pretty TV graphics, right? We're going in raw on this, okay? This is all raw graphics that again, we do use behind the scenes. Okay, so from there, let's go and take a look at the overview. This is what we call the upper air chart. This is at 18,000 feet. This is the 500 millibar chart. And so a couple things going on, right? On this chart, I say this almost every day when we do this, and I know it almost sounds something like out of a kindergartner class, but truly what we're doing here, we're looking for dips, which would be storm troughs, or we're looking for ridges, right? So we have calm weather or we have active weather, depending on if it's a dip or a ridge, right? So we have two things going on. Number one, here's the big dip, right? The big storm trough currently diving into parts of California, right? And again, you can also see the jet stream coming around, energizing around it as well. Eventually, that's going to be pushing off to the east. And as that happens, that's going to bring our active weather and again, our cooler weather, chillier weather, truly not cooler, but it's actually chillier weather here in North Texas, right? Again, the last couple of days, yesterday, today, the next 2 days, we're enjoying these unseasonably warm temperatures as well. And the main reason for that, we've got a ridge, and you can see this ridge that's built in from North Texas, even into parts of into the deep south. So in those locations, we're warm. And again, outside of just the morning fog, just the moisture that's trapped at the surface, there's not much going on, right? Our overall weather is fairly quiet. So this ridge that you're currently seeing in the deep south, it's going to play a big part in this storm system because the ridge is going to break down some eventually, but that big storm system is going to have to ride up and around it. So the storm itself will not even come down into North Texas, but it will push a cold front I'm going to show you down into the area. And again, as it turns out, it's really going to be the first of what appears to be a trio of cold fronts on the way. Just a quick look here, even at the water vapor imagery. And again, this is very similar to what we just looked at, but it also shows you the movement within the atmosphere as well. You can see all the rising motion out across parts of California. In fact, you can see that area spin. It's still off the coast of California. In fact, this is what I'm talking about. Look, there's the core, the actual area of low pressure. Just ahead of it, all that white, I mean, it looks like you just have a lawn hose, right, and you're spraying everything down. Again, that's just the rapid rising motion ahead of that storm, right? Sometimes when you hear, the meteorologists say, hey, we've got rapid rising motion, and they're using all these adjectives to describe things, and you're thinking, man, they're really just hyping this stuff, but they're not. I mean, when you truly look at this, you can see that's truly what's happening. That is true rapid rising motion out there. So just kind of an interesting thing happening with Mother Nature. Again, same thing happens typically when those big storm systems move through here. Obviously, it did happen last Friday, one of the reasons why we had the severe weather. So outside of that, coming around, you can see just all that moisture from the Pacific at the mid to upper levels of the atmosphere. And then again, we're also bringing in that Gulf of Mexico moisture at the surface. Again, here in the southern plains right now we're stagnant, but again, all of that will change, like I mentioned, over the next couple of days. So just a quick peek at all of that. From there, what I want to do, let's go and look at our convective outlook. We like to look at these every day, right? This just shows, again, what's going on around the nation, anything we need to know about, and anything we need to keep our eye on, right? So number one today, believe it or not, there's actually a marginal risk of severe weather out in parts of California. That would be, it looks like it's San Diego, LA, maybe even Orange County included in that, Ventura County out there as well. So Southern California, the coast, again, as that big storm system dives in, they have an opportunity of active weather. This is the time of year. When I was in the Navy, I lived in California. Even after I got out of the Navy, I lived in Southern California for a while. So that LA and San Diego area, Orange County, I'm very familiar with that. And it's this time of year, typically December, January, February, that's their wet, that's their stormy time of year. And so you don't see it very often, but marginal risk of severe weather every once in a while do pop up out there as well. But today, that's the only real opportunity of severe weather in the nation. So outside of that, we'll go to day two. You're starting to see an opportunity tomorrow of some severe weather down on the Atlantic coast of Florida. Of course, that has to do with Tropical Storm Nicole. I'll show you coming up. She'll be making landfall down there, giving an opportunity of heavy rain, possibly some severe weather. Outside of that, the rest of the nation, everything pretty quiet. And then as we, take a look at the following day. So that would take us out to Thursday. There's an opportunity of active weather across parts of the Corn Belt. The reason why? Well, that's our big storm system finally coming out. And again, you see the active weather, meaning severe weather, is well to our north. That's where the storm system is going to be. I'll show you this coming up. But again, that's where the opportunity of severe weather with that system is going to be as well. So again, well to our north. No concerns with that. Let me go and show you let me do this real quick as well. The National Hurricane Center. I want to do this really quick here, only for the fact that I just want to really watch our time on these videos. I don't want to go too long. But here's Nicole. And again, she's now up to 65-mile-per-hour winds. She's just below Hurricane 1 strength, right? She needs to get up to 74-mile-per-hour winds to get to Hurricane 1. She may briefly become Hurricane 1 before making landfall. She is now an actual tropical storm. Of course, yesterday she was subtropical, meaning she didn't necessarily have metrical characteristics of a classic tropical system. She was mainly just an area of low pressure, but as anticipated, she's now actually turned into a tropical system. And they now have her as, I'm not surprised by this, they now have her making landfall as a hurricane the way it looks right now. So it does appear as though she will make landfall as a hurricane right up the Florida coast, then up into parts of the Carolinas as a big time rainmaker. But anytime you're dealing with hurricane, near hurricane force winds, I mean, we know here in North Texas, winds up to 70 miles per hour. And again, in this situation could be 74 to even a little bit higher. And again, they're prolonged for a couple hours. Yeah, that can definitely cause some power bumps and some other issues as well. So that will not as a high impact landfall, obviously, but even a minimal hurricane can definitely cause some issues on the Atlantic coast of Florida. So something we'll be watching just like everyone else going forward as well. Okay, from there, let's go ahead and truly dive into the model data, right? This is typically what it's all about. In fact, I'm going to zoom this in, and this is what we like to get to. And leave us a comment if you're watching this below. When we do these, would you prefer us just to skip to the model type data, or do you like us kind of giving you the overall setup of everything that's going on? Like I said, the only reason I ask that is sometimes when these videos go 20-25 minutes and you're kind of having to sit through some of that stuff, the convective outlook, other things that again we look at here, it truly tells the story of what's going on. But would you rather us just dive right into the model data? If you're watching this on social media, in the comments, like I mentioned below, let us know, and we'll try and kind of curtail that to you a little bit as well. Okay, so this is what we're watching, number one. And again, this is that 500 millibar chart we looked at earlier, but this will be the model run of it, right? We're going to take this out in time over 10 days. We're watching that big storm trough out to the west, right? So keep your eye on that. And as I roll this forward in time, there it is. So you see it coming out into the Great Plains. Again, not that it moves through North Texas. You can see the bulk of the system stays well to our north, but it's going to be close enough. It will push that front. I will show you that front with the next chart coming up. So that system pulls out, but what do we have behind it, right? Take a look at that. We've got another storm coming in, but that takes a low, slow track down into the southern plains. That appears to be a very, we'll call it chilly rainmaker off to our north. There could even be a little bit of wintry precip with that. We'll keep our eye on that. And then behind it, we've got one more system you can see swinging through fairly quickly as well. And again, each of those will have their own fronts with them. And then at the very end of the model run, look at this system coming out of Canada, and that's got some of the chilliest and coldest air of the season that in about 11, 12, maybe 13 days is going to be swinging through our area as well. So again, we're going from just, mild weather to, I mean, we're truly being thrown right into, not that this is truly winter weather, but it's cold. I mean, we're basically going straight cold. So there's really not been much of an in-between, right? So now we're at the 850 millibar level. This is where we're looking at air mass change with each of those systems. This is just off the surface, so we can truly see what the air mass is, right? So system number one, as it comes back up through the Intermountain West, it taps into all that really cold air you see pooling there across parts of Canada. Here comes cold front one. You can see the really chilly stuff stays up in parts of northern Oklahoma into Kansas, locations off to the north, but that front makes it all the way down to the Gulf Coast. okay, front number 1 for Friday turns us chillier, okay? So let's go forward in time now. You can see here comes the next system. Here comes another burst of chilly air. Similar story, but this one comes even further to the south. And that's the latest data, gang. I tell you what, that's looking even chillier and chillier now as we get into next week. That storm system that I'm going to show you with the opportunity of precip by the middle parts of next week, we may, at least in our area, very carefully need to start watching for some wintry precip. I mean, this is a pretty decent push of chilly air, especially for this time of year. If you're not a big cold weather fan, you're not going to like the forecast. So then here comes that next storm. You can see it. Look at it diving out of Canada. Look at the source region of this. That's Arctic air. This third push, that's true Arctic air. Look at it. You can see it as I back it up in time. Where's it coming from? North of Alaska. And there it is pooling down. That's going to be some cold stuff. And by day 10, there it is pushing into the Intermountain West. The data ends on day 10. You can only extrapolate out that, again, that will also come rolling down as well. And again, that's going to be another round of really chilly stuff. So again, temperatures trending down in a big time way. Okay, let's do this as well. I want to look at the precip next. And the only reason why I really want to skip to this is because, like I mentioned, that second front looks even colder and colder now. This is the first time I'm looking at, this is the very newest data, so we're truly looking at this together. But again, there may be some wintry precip in the area with that, okay? So I'm going to skip ahead in time. Here's front 1. This is Friday. The data is being a little more bullish now, showing there could be a few showers around. In fact, I'm upping my opportunity of precip on Friday to a 30% opportunity in the Metroplex. It looks pretty spotty, mainly off to the northeast, not very likely. Again, it doesn't appear to be a wave of rain, doesn't appear to be anything severe, but there could be a few showers around on Friday as the front comes through, okay? So we'll watch that carefully. So not just a 20, but now a 30% opportunity. There goes front number 1. You can see there may be some thunder, though, down along the coast, right? Again, well south of us here in North Texas. Now, here comes that next storm, and the timing on this is now moved up to Monday, okay? So Monday, for that one, it's still keeping the wintry precip well off to the north, but again, you can see out around Amarillo, into parts of northwestern Oklahoma, that's a mix and that's some snow. But it's getting closer with every model right now. Again, I'm not saying I don't think that's going to make it into North Texas, but this time of year, as you start getting these pretty chilly systems in, you start looking at our Red River counties and you start looking off to the north just to make sure, right? And it's within the area that there may be some snow. Again, even if you have friends, family out in Amarillo, again, they may be picking up some snow with that system. And it's November, right? So, I mean, this is cold stuff, especially for us. And let's look at that last system. And again, it'll be coming in right at the end of this. So really our only real opportunity of rain that looks pretty likely, I've now got it at a 40% opportunity, would be the following Monday. Okay, the following Monday, a pretty likely opportunity. And that would be a cold rain here. This upcoming Friday, maybe a few showers. Outside of that, it's a relatively dry forecast, okay? So not a lot going on with all that. Let's go and take a look at the raw numbers. We're going to kind of jump around just a little bit here, out of place from how we normally do this. I'm going to zoom this back out. And this is the blend of models, right? And so what this does, it takes all the different model data, puts it together, and it weights it, and then also plugs in the high-res data here too. And so again, for tomorrow, Wednesday, high around 80. We talked about that. Even on Thursday, high around 80. Clouds and fog in the morning. We'll burn it off as we go through the afternoon. If you like warm weather, enjoy those 2 days, because there it is, the bottom drops out. After that, Friday into the weekend, highs generally in the mid-50s, and then again you can see, even as we get into next week, highs in the lower to mid-50s. Those morning lows, Sunday they're now advertising here in the Metroplex down to 34. It's going to be pretty hard to get an actual freeze in the Metroplex yet, but I think by Sunday morning, most of the outlying areas, right, most of our other hometowns, and maybe even like up in Denton, like maybe up in McKinney, even locations down to the south, Waxahachie, so, you know, some of those locations, Cleburne, locations off to the north, Jacksboro. Chances are you're probably going to have your first freeze of the season by Saturday night, early Sunday morning, and there may be another opportunity by the following Thursday as well. So again, we're absolutely turning pretty chilly. I want to do this. I want to back over to the model data, and because I do want to take a look at these morning lows just quickly here based off the Euro. And let me see if we can just get these. Let's do this here. let me go and back this up. And this is the newest run. Let's see if we can take it out that far. And so this would be Saturday morning. We really want to get to Sunday morning. And again, as small as it looks on your screen, let me see if I can zoom this in. It's just as small on mine. So there's a little bit of a better look. But again, and like I mentioned, I've really got to look in carefully at these numbers because they're hard to see. So essentially here would be the freezing line, somewhere right in here. And again, that's just kind of a rough estimate where locations up in here could see a freeze Sunday morning. These other locations where you're seeing like 34s and 35s, I mean, it may be close enough that it's not impossible. So again, if you have tender vegetation, things like that outside, I would go and start planning on Saturday night, Sunday morning, that we do see our first. Again, a lot of folks, a few folks already have truly up along the Red River Valley, but again, for most of us outside of the Metroplex, you may see your first freeze, again, Saturday night and again, early Sunday morning. One other thing, like I mentioned, we just kind of got a little out of order doing this. There's one other thing I want to look at, and then we'll wrap this up. But I do want to look at the visibility for tomorrow morning. There may be another opportunity of fog around the area. And this will just be a high-res look at the high-res data for tomorrow morning. And again, there's that opportunity. And the high-res data is basically showing off to the northeast that, again, there may be areas of dense fog. Elsewhere, there is going to be fog. It's going to kind of be patchy like it was this morning. But again, if you're maybe up towards like the Bonham, Paris area, maybe now towards Sulphur Springs, unfortunately, the areas that got hit with the tornadic activity last Friday, you folks may have some denser fog. Then also, if you're out Interstate 20 for whatever reason watching, that's outside of our coverage area, but even out towards Longview, locations like that, you would also have an opportunity of some dense fog. So you can see we've got a lot going on. A lot of pieces of the weather puzzle are coming together as we get ready for this big chill down. And it's not just a one-day deal. It's not just a two-day deal. It's going to be a week-long, maybe week and a half long or longer type deal. If you have not downloaded our free mobile app, of course, today is a great day to do it. It is available on the Apple iTunes Store, Google Play Store. Again, just simply type in Weather Tracker TV DFW. And again, like I mentioned, you can download it on there for free today. Otherwise, again, we'll do another one of these videos for you tomorrow. Of course, our complete forecast in pretty TV fashion, of course, is on our live channel. Again, 24/7, and also on our mobile app there as well. Roku, Apple, Amazon Fire TV, and again, also on our mobile app as well. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Like I mentioned, give us a like in the comments below, and again, also let us know where you're watching from, or again, let us know any comments if you want us just to skip to the model data. And like I mentioned, we'll try and kind of refine these videos as we go forward in time. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and enjoy the rest of your Tuesday afternoon.